She was a nurse. She was my medical collier. She was the person I would contact to help me with my dad. And when she got sick, it was hard. It was very hard to navigate all the doctor calls, all of those sorts of things. The day my mom was passing away, my mother-in-law's dementia went into overdrive. And so we had to navigate that piece. And my husband, well, me and him kind of had to like divide and conquer pretty much. Basically, with both of my parents passing, I did have to take a step back to try to recognize what's going on.
And your new life without them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was actually a rediscovery for me. And it was also, I kind of hit it when I looked at a picture once and I was like, I don't know that person. I don't like that person, what they look like. And so I went on a journey to say, you know what, I'm going to lose 30 pounds before my understanding. The kids tried to do their visits when they could for all of them, which was phenomenal. Like, they never really had to sit there and go, you need to take care. What they did need to do was kind of understand that we were strapped and understand that, you know what, maybe I can't go to that game.
Hello, Let's Talk fam. Welcome back. Today with me, I have Chantel Escoffery. Hey, Chantel, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Tell the Let's Talk family who you are, what you do, what you're all about.
Okay. So my name is Chantel Escoffery. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter-in-law, I guess you'd say. I'm a daughter. I have sisters. I have... and I own my own company. So I own CE Marketing Solutions. And out of just living, I launched a program called Sandwich Years. Sandwich Years is dear to my heart. It's basically for those who are in the sandwich generation, basically to have somebody at the top bun that they're taking care of. And it could be your parents, could be aunts, could be uncles. And sometimes I'm finding, based on the stories I'm talking to, that there actually could be your siblings as well, older siblings that you're taking care of. Then the bottom bun is more likely your children. And then if you don't have children, it could also be nieces, nephews, and then recently fur babies we were talking about, because they are dependents as well. And so you're squeezed in the middle. And so we go by Squeezed and Blessed. And so with that program, we are interviewing people within the Sandwich Years. And so that's kind of how we met.
Yeah, that's exactly how we met. I had the privilege of doing Chantel's podcast a couple months ago, I think. On the Sandwich Years, and those that know me well and or follow me know that I am the epitome of Sandwich Years. I am definitely one of those people. As you guys know, and if you don't know me, you're not following me, I'll let you know. I take care of my mom. I am the primary caregiver of my mom, who lives with me. She is 82, which isn't very young these days, but she's not very well. So I have that responsibility. And my daughter also lives with me. So I am definitely the Sandwich Years. And when I was approached about doing Chantel's podcast, of course, I jumped right into it, because as you guys know, my platform is all about prioritizing self-care, wellness, self-love, taking care of yourself, putting your mask on first. And it's really hard to do that when you're in the Sandwich Years, because you've got so much responsibilities. My daughter is 30, so it's not like I have to run home and feed a baby, but she's still my daughter, and she's still at home. She's still dependent. And when they're at home, I don't care how old they are your baby and you are their mom. It's mommy all day. And then there's my mom. So yeah, I jumped at the chance to speak with Chantel. We had a great conversation. So what we're doing today is kind of like, I'm calling it part 2 of her podcast, which you can find on YouTube under Sandwich Years. You can follow her on Instagram under Sandwich Years. And this is kind of a continuation of that discussion that we had about the Sandwich Years. What does that look like? How do we navigate that? How do we navigate that with mental health and all the other hats that we have to wear? Both Chantel and I are entrepreneurs. We're business women living in the Sandwich Years. And for those of you out there that are listening, and also are living in those Sandwich Years, you know the difficulties. And if you're not living in those Sandwich Years, there is a high chance that you will be. So you're going to want to hear this. I'm going to turn it over to Chantel. Let her tell us about, how Sandwich Years was born, where that came from, how she got it to where it is now, and what she sees next for Sandwich Years. Chantel?
Thank you. So we had a great conversation, as you mentioned. And so with Sandwich Years, how that kind of evolved was My dad had prostate cancer, and they gave him a year to live, and he lived for 3. We called him the cat that had the 7 lives. We were going up and down on a roller coaster. I think we even gave him first rights. And then the next day, he was like, "Hi, how's it going?" And we're just like, what is happening? And that roller coaster was a lot. I got constant phone calls at work while I was working. I had to figure out how to navigate that piece. Luckily, I had some really good people that I worked with so that they were able to understand what I was dealing with. And so that was my dad. The tail end of COVID, my mom was sick, and she was actually in the hospital from like August to December. She was there for quite a bit of time. And during COVID, it was very hard, the shutdown, very hard to navigate how to visit, when to visit, and all that stuff. She lived on her own. She had a student that lived with her. And she literally had everything. Like she was a nurse. She was my medical Collier. She was the person I would contact to help me with my dad. And when she got sick, it was hard. It was very hard to navigate all the doctor calls, all of those sorts of things. And then I also have kids. And
you're married.
And I'm married. So I have kids. I have a husband. I also have 2 in-laws. At that time, I had 2 in-laws as well. And my mother-in-law had dementia. So me and my husband were having our day. I have a couple of friends who are kind of doing the same thing. So luckily I had that piece. And while I was in it, I was like, I didn't plan for this. and I was just like, I didn't even know this was going to happen. And so Googling, and it was funny, a recent article I read just said people in the sandwich generation, in the sandwich years, are Google masters. Because we're literally trying to find resources as fast as we possibly can.
Very true.
So back then, I actually, my entrepreneur hat, I registered Sandwich Years on Facebook and I left it. So I left it there.
Do you remember when this was? Like what year was this?
2018.
2018. Okay.
And I left it there.
Okay.
And I didn't touch it because I was like, I'm not doing anything with it because I can't. I have no capacity.
Where did the name come from?
Sandwich Generation. And then I just said, I'm in the Sandwich Years.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I was like, this is the Sandwich Years. And then I started talking to more people. And they were in the Sandwich Years and things like that. And I'm like, how long does this period last? Like, this is insane. And so fast forward a bit, my mom ended up passing away in the hospital. And then we had to do all the other navigation, like estates and finances and all of that stuff that, to be quite honest, I didn't know anything about. And I had to go and learn all that piece and rely on people that potentially I knew and some that I didn't. And so that was another tricky perspective there. Like we went to her house every week for 3 months to clear it out. And then one of the things that I always tell people about when you're clearing out like your loved one's home and they've passed, you find nuggets of love, I call it. And that's where I found my mom had my graduation, the agenda from the graduation ceremony at Ryerson. That's where I went to school. And she had it tucked away with my aunts who went to Ryerson as well. And we found the package. And I'll be honest, I was just like, she did love me.
Of course.
And those are the kind of things that you look for those messages. And so I went through all of that. With that said, the day my mom was passing away, my mother-in-law's dementia went into overdrive. And so we had to navigate that piece. And my husband, me and him kind of had to like divide and conquer pretty much. And it was very tricky. Also having to be able to tell my mother-in-law that my mother had died. She wouldn't have remembered and I'd have to keep living it over. I have an aunt as well who has dementia, but she lives in New York, and just living it over and over with her. I didn't know what to do. Like I stopped telling her, that my mom had passed away because she always asked, how is she doing? And she would always ask me. And
so when she asked, what would you say?
I would literally be like, she's okay. Because there was no more that I could tell her. Okay. When my mom was in the hospital, she did get to talk to her. We FaceTimed and everything like that. But after, and then the day that she was passing away, we had a lovely day, me and my sister and the student that lived, we stayed with my mom and we called people in because nobody could visit. And we had FaceTime and things like that. One of the things that touched me the most was my aunt. And I thank you, Auntie Jean. But my aunt was like, she said to my mom, if you have to go, I got the girls. And when she said that, I was just like, and then my mom passed away at the hospital.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there were so many things
That are going
that
on.
that I dealt with. And so fast forward a little bit more, my husband had to sell my mother-in-law's mechanical bed. And so I put it on Facebook and I left it there. And for quite a bit of time, it was waiting. Nobody was buying. And then this one lady found it. She's like, I need to buy it for my aunt. And she was negotiating with me, and my husband's like, you know what? I just want it to go to a good home. And so we did the deal. My husband went, she picked it up. And then I would say maybe about 5 months later, my, a friend of mine texted me. She's like, hey, you still have that bed?
Oh.
And I was like, no.
Oh, no.
I'm like, what's happening? And she explained to me that her father needed to come home. He came home from the hospital, and she was now negotiating with the hospital to figure out how to get resources. And I said, well, you're not supposed to take them home. Once you take them home, you have no leverage because they definitely need the bed.
Yeah.
So that's why they need. And so then I said to her, I said, oh, and she goes, well, how was I supposed to know that?
Yeah.
And then I said to her, I go, oh, and then that was a straw kind of that helped break the camel's back.
Okay,
That-
so let's pause for a second.
Yeah.
I want to do a little recap. So in 2018 is when you registered Sandwich Years,
just the Facebook.
just
yeah.
a Facebook.
Yep.
But your parents were still alive.
Yep.
Okay,
But I was living in the midst of it.
you were going through it.
Yeah.
What we call going through it. What year did your father pass away first?
Yeah.
What year did your father pass away?
No, my mother passed away
Yeah,
first.
what year?
She passed away in 2020, so it's going to be 5 years this
And
year.
your dad?
And my dad passed away 3 years later, so about 2023.
And I know
so it's
your
gonna be 2
mother-in-law
years.
just passed away.
Yeah. So my mother-in-law
several-
just
few
passed
months
away.
ago.
Yeah.
So what was important, I wanted to know the time frame because you had registered on Facebook Sandwich Years before your parents passed. You had said something about when it started to happen with your parents getting sick and your mother-in-law having dementia. You remember stopping and saying to yourself, I didn't plan for this. That's the problem with mental health, Sandwich Years, taking care of loved ones. Nobody plans for this. I have a dear friend, Jacqueline Correa. You may know her for those of you that attended this year's conference. She was one of the speakers there, and she has written a book. She put together a book about your farewell wishes, your final wishes when you pass away. See, we plan for everything. Well, or at least we should. You do your will to plan for when you're not here anymore. You do investments, you have insurance. These are all planning things that we do, preparing things that we do. Nobody plans for being in the Sandwich Years. Nobody plans for having that moment when mental health takes you out. Nobody on the planet was more surprised than me when I found myself on stress leave. You couldn't find a person that's more surprised than me. So there is no planning for it. You really you find yourself in the middle of it. And if you are blessed enough, you have family and friends that are around you that will help you. And if you're not, it's just you. And sometimes you have family and friends there, but you still feel like it's just you.
And that's exactly why I set up the program.
Yeah. So now we started 2018.
Yep.
Mom and dad and mother-in-law unfortunately has passed away. But when did you
Kick this off?
Yeah, when did you wake up? Sandwich Years.
So basically, with both of my parents passing, I did have to take a step back to try to recognize what's going on.
And your new life without them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was actually a rediscovery for me. And it was also, I kind of hit it when I looked at a picture once and I was like, I don't know that person. I don't like that person, what they look like. And so I went on a journey to say, you know what? I'm going to lose 30 pounds before my 50th birthday.
Okay.
And I did it.
Okay.
And with that, I also started taking better care of myself. So like cookies was my meal. Cookies were fast. Cookies were great.
Make you feel good and true.
Exactly. And don't ask me what kind of cookie, because I'll tell you I love them all. But
okay,
I used
need
to
know
eat
your favorite. I need to know your favorite.
Oh, now.
I just need to know.
Shortbread. I love my shortbreads. I'll have some Oreo. I like the the thin off-white ones.
Okay.
I love those ones too.
Okay.
Sorry.
Carry on.
I'm sorry. But I'll eat. I don't discriminate. I eat all kinds of cookies. Okay. But that was my meal.
Okay.
Because I was moving so
Yeah.
fast. And so like, I mean, I haven't even touched the surface of my children. Like I have teen children, teen and adult children. And so, I mean, they're active. I also had my own job. I was working corporate. And then I started my business. I started my business before my father passed away. And so, I mean, all of these moving pieces plus your emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So literally I would say I hit it. And that's when I was just like, I had to wake up. I had gotten a therapist after my mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. And so we talk it through. And, I'll be honest, when I talk with her now, the growth she tells me about, she's like, oh my gosh, she's like the growth that you have had.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Sandwichers came with me, as I said, my friend tipping me off, my husband. Like I'm seeing him interact with his mom and my heart is breaking, with him feeding her and just, to me, I was almost like, suffering in silence. Okay. Cause, she was the world to him.
Yeah.
Okay. She was the world to our family. And so, I mean, dementia is one of those things that just linger. And I've been hearing from multiple people that call it the slow death. And I'm just like, and we constantly had to remind ourselves that just make sure that they're happy. And that's it. We hold the memories. I kept telling him, we hold the memories. She doesn't need them. We will just make sure she's happy, surround her with happiness, even the kids. And so like I fear for my kids as well. They've seen all three. I'd be with my generation.
wow,
I mean,
yeah.
I saw my grandmother pass away. I didn't know my other grandparents, but I saw my grandmother and I was 30 when she passed
Wow.
away. They've seen so much in that. Like they've seen my dad suffer through prostate cancer. They weren't able to talk to, like they had to say bye to, they weren't even allowed to go to the funeral for my mom because of COVID. Because we had a 9-person funeral.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's all that was in the past, but that's what's driving my sandwich.
So right now, the only living parent between you and your husband is your husband's father.
My father-in-law.
How is he doing?
He is phenomenal.
Awesome.
And he has been a beacon of strength for us. I told him about the program as well.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love it. He goes, I love that you're trying to do this for us. He's also seen his mom pass away. So he was actually really good for me when my mom passed away, when my dad passed away, and then with my mother-in-law as well.
So he's holding the torch for
all of
the rest
us.
of it.
And
That's
he knows
awesome.
that. And I'm like, you're here for the long haul.
Yeah, keep praying over him. So then 2018, you just jumped on, registered Sandwich Years, did nothing with it, just kind of sat there.
Yeah.
And then boom, 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 boom,
So
boom.
June is when I launched it.
June of 2020.
2025.
This year.
I launched
Wow.
it June 20, and that actually is my parents' wedding anniversary. They were separated, but that's okay. But it's their wedding anniversary. And so that's when I launched it. With the program, what it's about is conversation.
Okay.
And people, what I found is people that are in the sandwich years, they're not suffering in silence, they're caregivers, and they're not talking about it. Unless you get into a conversation with your friend, then you're all like, oh. And so the conversation, so I have a podcast where I talk to people and they tell their stories. And some of them have lived it sandwich years a while ago, which it makes it a little easier to have that conversation. Some of them are in the midst of it and can have those conversations. The other piece of that is that I have a website, and that's sandwichers.com. And on there is a directory that I've started with supportive brands. So brands that can actually help us through the sandwich years. And so they could either be elderly support, they can also be child rearing support, and then also self-support. And so what I found is like, you've got to figure out how to take a piece out for yourself. You've got to figure out when you have had it, and also how to navigate family members. So another piece of it was, caregivers or not even, you think you have to do it all. And to be quite honest, you can't. You can't. If you have siblings, every sibling has a role and they will play them. I'm lucky. Or not, but I'm lucky. I have siblings and they played their roles, which was great. And some may not.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure you understand what their roles are.
Yeah.
So some people can only handle certain things.
Mhm.
And if that's what they can handle, then let them do it.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of something I had to learn along the way too. And all of us have to learn that piece. The other piece that I kind of have to, you have to, taking care of your body. So eating, potentially working out, if that's what soothes your soul. Like if you like to walk, one of the things I started doing is walking. It's like run, Forrest, walk, Shanti. So that's kind of what I do. I walk. And so I go for walks. That helps clear my mind.
Yeah, walking. I lost a tremendous amount of weight years ago. You wouldn't know it now by walking. I can't wait to start it again. But a couple of things. I want to backtrack.
Oh, sorry.
No. I'm listening to you. I'm just forming questions in my head as you're talking. One of the things that you had mentioned was, getting the siblings involved, not thinking that you have to do it all. And that's very true. But what I have found with people that I know that are in my circle, in my age group, because if you are our age group, most of our friends or colleagues or acquaintances are in the sandwich years.
Yeah.
Very many of them. I find that caregivers, there's usually, whether there's 2 siblings or 15, it always usually falls on one person. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't understand it. But the bulk of taking care of your parent or parents typically falls on one person. That's one thing that I have noticed. And I wanted to ask you about something. One of my very first speaking engagements, I spoke at a community fundraising event. It was held at a church in Oshawa, I believe. And I got there and I spoke, and people came up to me afterwards. And the general theme every time I speak, the general theme afterwards when people want to speak to me is, "Oh my goodness, you're telling my story. Oh my goodness, you're telling my story. Oh my goodness, you're telling my story." But the interesting thing is a lady who walked up to me. She must have been in her 60s. She had to at least be in her 60s. She was the caregiver of her daughter. Her daughter was wheelchair bound.
Yeah.
She was there at the event. She brought the daughter with her, and she was the caregiver.
Yeah.
And I remember she walked up to me and she said, "Oh my goodness, you were saying a lot of the things my sister has been telling me, that I have to take care of myself, go for a walk, take myself out to dinner by myself, let somebody else come and sit with her, whether it's an hour or 4 hours or a day. I need that break." And she said her sister was just telling her that. And she said that when you made that statement about the caregiver going before the person they're caring for, which is what people keep telling me, you got to be careful, you got to be careful, you got to be careful. She's like, people are telling me that. And you're right. We do feel like we have to do it all, because if we don't, it won't get done, or it won't get done properly. People accuse me of spoiling my mom. And I don't know what your definition of spoiling is. I just like to make sure that whatever I do for her, she's comfortable, because these are her latter years.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that she's comfortable. And if I'm leaving her with you, and I know she likes her ice water and her orange juice and her Ovaltine made just so, I'm trusting you and relying on you to do those things just the way she likes it. So there's so many things that are involved in being a caregiver, sandwich years, managing your mental health. And part of that is taking care of your body, the temple that God gave us, whether it's what you eat. And listen, let's talk, fam. I'm just talking the talk. I ain't walking the walk. I know we're supposed to be taking care of ourselves. I know we're supposed to be taking care of our bodies, eating well. And the frustrating thing about someone like me is I know exactly what to do. I just don't do it. But it is part of the parcel. Because when I did walk back in the day before I hand it back over to you, it is so invigorating.
Yeah.
I would come home from work and I would be like, Sneeze, my daughter, mad because the house is a mess. Okay, I'm going to go for my walk. And when I come back, the house looks exactly the same, but my attitude is different. Like when I came from work, I'm like, rah, 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 rah. When I get back, rah, rah, rah. When I come back, it's, baby girl, how the hell still looking so? It's a completely...
So it was calming then.
It was
so your daughter is like, can we go for walks right now? Like, please
Mom,
go for your walk. Go for your walk. So it was also medicine for you.
No, it was. And I've heard people say that, and I thought it was pure madness. I heard people say they were addicted to working out. If they didn't work out, blah, 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 blah. And I thought it was pure madness until I did it. There is something there. That endorphins thing or whatever it's called is real.
My husband likes to work out, and that's how he clears his head.
Yeah.
And that's how, and for a while I didn't know it. And then when I see it, I'm like, yeah, no, you need to go work out, honey, or something like that. But there's that. So there's that. Then there's the financial piece. And so when you talk about the financial piece, you're going to do whatever you need to do for your family members. And so you will make things stretch, or the West Indian way, you will steal from Peter to pay Paul. You will do what you have to do. And so the financial setup of that piece is another thing. Imagine also you have kids that are going away to school. Well, you want to give them a little something to do that piece. And you know, like I've one in university right now, one that just finished university, and another one that's going to be starting university. In the sandwich years, that's what it's about.
Wow.
And I mean, yes, they'll work and make some ends meet too, but you want to give them a little something, because that's what we want to do for them, right? Because we're proud of them. And so those are the aspects, or being involved in school and stuff like that. A lot of the times I was involved in school because I wanted to meet the people that were going to be with my kids all the time on a different level. I don't want them calling me when there's problems. And I was talking to somebody about that as well. You want to try to be engaged in school when it's good, because when something goes down, they're the ones who are taking care of your kids. Okay. And also your kids are watching. They're watching and they're learning. When they see you interacting with administration at their school or teachers at their school, it's a different interaction. They get comfortable and they feel they can interact. And so those are kind of things as well. Like the whole sandwichers, there's a whole combination of things.
Wow.
And so that's kind of what this program is about. We have like I'm starting up this Care Connection thing where we'll have events where we'll have panel people, and you come to the event and you can ask some of the supportive brands, some of their expert advice, because I don't know it all. I have my lived experience and I have my things that I dealt with, but we all need experts.
Yes, absolutely.
And so what some of the things I learned was, if I can't do it all. If I have siblings that I can rely on, I will rely on my siblings for certain aspects, and then I'll look for professionals to do the rest. Some of them will be paid for. Some of them, it might be just resources that I need, or even just to make sure, how do I deal with a certain situation? So it might be articles and stuff like that. And so all of that is what I'm trying to bring into the sandwichers. At least get you somewhere to start.
The starting point.
A starting point. And these are people who are raising their hand to say, hey, I know what the sandwichers are about, and I actually can help you through it. I know you don't have time. I know you probably don't have a lot of resources, or you may have a few. There might be some cultural aspects as well.
Definitely.
And so that is kind of some of the nuances too. One of the supportive brands that are on there right now, they do cultural care. So they have PSWs that are from different backgrounds, and literally you may be able to find one. And I think we talked about this. There is a difference when they can share in the story and they understand the food and all of that aspect. Or not even just having the patience to deal with this. So potentially you might need some PSW support. So you can take that break, or you can take that vacation, or you can take an hour out with the girls and have a good time. So that's what the sandwiches is about.
It's so vital. And this is why I was so excited to join your podcast and have you on mine, is the importance of this. And I, like you, don't have all the answers. I have my story. And my prayer and my journey and the mission that God has given me is that my story will help you, will help others going through it. Because when you find yourself in it, there's no warning sign. There's no build up to it. There's no, okay, next Tuesday, like there's none of that. It's you wake up one morning and your life has drastically changed. And a lot of things we don't know, and we're still trying to figure out, like, what are the resources out there for us? Like, where are they? And what kind of resources are they? And by the time you find out what the resources are, where they are, how you can tap into them, the process is a whole nother thing as well. So my mother, as I mentioned earlier on, is in her early 80s. And so now I'm at that stage of, do I put her in a home? And talking about culturally, it's not something that we do, put our parents in a home. My mother sang this song our whole lives. When I get old, if I get sick, don't you ever put me in a home, blah, blah, blah. And mentally that messes with you. So it's in my head my entire life. And I'm now at that door. I'm at that door of, what do I do?
Hmm.
What do I do? But I have to do what's not only best for her, but what's best for me. Because I'm going to get to the point with my business and wanting to take the Let's Talk conferences Canada wide. I can't be all that I have been for her and be all that God has made me to be. So I'm going to have to make some very, very, very emotionally tough decisions when it comes to my mom. I agree with you about the outside help. I've started doing that myself, where people come in and I like, you know what, we're going to pay you for 4 hours or just to sit with her while I go and do this and go in and do that. But it's vitally important. I talk about this in my newsletters. I talk about this at my conferences. You've got to make sure your cup is full. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't be giving and giving and giving and giving. And then at the end of the day, there's nothing left for you to even give to yourself.
Yeah.
I had to learn that the hard way. I had to learn that the very, 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 very hard way. So people like Chantel with Sandwich Years and myself with Let's Talk, all we're doing is sharing our lived experiences with you. And so that when it starts to happen, you can be like, oh, wait. This looks familiar. This sounds familiar. Is this what Olu was talking about? Is this what Chantel was talking about? Am I in the sandwich years? Should I be checking on my mental health? And like,
Yeah.
we don't want you to be as surprised and knocked off of your feet like we were.
Yeah.
When it happened to us.
100%.
Yeah.
And you know what? The squeezed part of being in the sandwich years could also be there when your parents aren't not ill. Like they're dependent still on you to come every Saturday for dinner, or to those dependencies also takes away from what you normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And so some days you probably would be cursing it, be like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. Like one of the biggest jokes I always say is my mom, when she got on WhatsApp, she used to send me all these memes and stuff. And I'd be like, what is this lady doing? I would long for a meme right now.
Right?
But do you see what I'm saying?
No,
Like
I know.
I sit there, and luckily my mom had one of her good friends. She sends me the memes now, and my father-in-law, so that's good. But I sat there and I was like sitting there going, I kind of didn't know what I had. But there are all of those things. And that's the kind of thing that we want to talk. It's not all about the health and all of that stuff. It's also just setting yourself up. And so like, I mean, your kids are going away to university. Did you try to do an RESP or something like that so that you're set up for that financially? And so we have resources online too of a supportive brand that's like, hey, I'll help you. And so that's kind of like my ask is start there. And if you'll see different stories, like your story. We did a story with Courtney, you'll see, and he talks about what's best. And he tried the home. His mom lived with him. His mom went to a home and now lives with his sister.
Oh, okay.
And so they tried they've tried everything. And what works best for them, their whole family, is that she lives with the sister. And then once in a while, he'll come. Yeah, she'll go for a vacation. And then if you see the story, once in a while, she'll go on vacation. And then he takes the mom with support from a PSW.
And see, that's the way it should be. That's the way families come together to take care of your ailing parent or parents. I'm happy that you mentioned and talked about the financial aspect. Yeah, that's a tough one, because in most cases in the sandwich years, the parent or parents are retired.
Yep. So they're on pensions.
They're on pensions, and we know what that looks like.
Yep.
And there are those off times where the parent or parents have been blessed enough to put aside a significant amount of money, and it makes the care for them, I'm not going to say easy, but easier, because they have the financial resources to put their parent or parents in a decent, above decent facility, or have the proper things brought into the home. All that takes money. So we don't fall in that category. Me and my mom don't fall in that category. It's just her pension.
Yeah.
And I no longer work a 9-to-5 job, so I don't have the luxury of a paycheck every other week. So financially, it is definitely challenging. And we have that same saying back home, rob Peter to pay Paul. We have that same saying. But every month, when the month ends, I turn to the Lord and I say thank you. Because I just the math doesn't math. If you write it down on paper, the math ain't mathing. But when you place it in God's hands and say, this is all I have, Lord. Take it, multiply it, make it fruitful. Help me. I need your help. But financially, and as a senior who is not well, their cost of all the things that they need is not a joke.
No,
It's not a joke.
And so I've lived that as well.
Yeah,
with my father as well. And one of the things that I did learn from one of our supportive brands financially, she mentioned that when we move jobs, we forget to change our addresses, because if we have pensions there, they're still trying to communicate to our old address. So one of the things is know where your money is. And so for elderly, you got to help them make sure they know where their money is, because there could be hidden money places that you don't know yet.
Okay, so I'm going to go home and be checking every place I used to work.
But that was one of the learnings that we went through, was sitting there going, with her and her clients, what she's finding is they are looking at doing everything, but then they noticed, hey, I used to work here for how many years? I think there's a pension there or something like that. And so she's like, the key is know where your money is. And so those are the things that you don't think about, though.
Do we know if Canada or Ontario has a national database where someone can just pluck their name in there and it can spit out
all the places they worked?
Yeah, or that may possibly, I mean, I don't know if that exists, but it's a good idea. Another thing before we wrap up that we need to talk about when it comes to the sandwich years is, we talked about sandwich years, but we focus mainly on the parent or parents. Now there's the kids underneath that. And so one of the things I was intentional about, and I wasn't in the beginning when I became the caregiver for my mom, the primary caregiver for my mom, I saw it as a tag team thing between my daughter and I. So if I was going out, she had to be home, right? But Mom, I have plans. Well, I got to go. So you have to, and I remember like I wanted to travel. Well, can I come with you? No, you have to be home. And then I thought, oh, that's not fair to her. That's so not fair to her, because we all have a different heart posture and we all have a different love language. And I know how tough it was, or how tough it is being a caregiver. I don't want that for her. So I had to change my thinking and thought, no. I'm not going to drag this girl through this. If she wants to do it, or if she happens to be home because she's not working or doesn't have plans, then great. But I wasn't going to make her change her plans or cancel her plans because I couldn't be home. So I'm very, very aware of that for her.
Not latering the caregiving onto her.
I don't want her to go through what I go through unless it's her choice to do so.
Yeah. I think one of the things from my own experience, it was just letting the kids know what's going on. I think we tried our best to make sure that they had an understanding. The kids tried to do their visits when they could for all of them, which was phenomenal. As I mentioned, for my moms, it was a little tricky because we had the COVID, but they were able to kind of still do the FaceTime. When we tried to FaceTime her in the hospital, they would be like, hi, Grandma, that kind of stuff. But like, they never really had to sit there and go, you need to take care. What they did need to do was kind of understand that we were strapped and understand that, you know what, maybe I can't go to that game, or I can't go to this because I got to go with your grandfather. Or I think when my dad passed away, one of the things, my son was like, Mom, are you okay? My heart, I was just sort of sitting there going, wow. Because they can see. And that's the thing. They're seeing everything. They're part of it. Make them a part of it. Don't make them an afterthought, because they also have to be an afterthought to the whole situation. One of the things that warmed my heart is my niece and my nephew and my kids would go and visit Grandma. They would just go. And it was so warm. They'd be like, yeah, we're going to go see Grandma. And I'm like, okay, do you need? They're like, no, we got the codes. We got everything. We're off.
And they made it themselves. Let them do it themselves.
Yeah, they did it themselves. They would go. They would take pictures with her. They would try to, this is my mother-in-law. They would. And so they had a relationship originally, but they had to morph and change the relationship based on her having the dementia. And they did a fabulous job.
They will. The kids are amazing. The one thing I will say about my daughter is, oh my goodness, she was absolutely amazing. She didn't do the everyday, day-to-day things and tasks and chores that I would want her to do. But when I needed that girl, would she ever show up big time? She knew every single medication her grandmother took. Which is why I prayed and prayed and prayed for her to be a nurse, which is going to happen. Thank you, Jesus. But no, so let them, I'm happy you said that, because let them do what they want to do, when and how they want to do it. do not turn them into a mini version of yourself, because we know how difficult that is.
Oh.
We would not want to put that on our children. I can't thank you enough, Chantel. This is such an important discussion to have, and an important topic. And I'm really happy that the Lord placed that on your heart to start Sandwich Years, because it is exactly where we are right now. It ties in with mental health, because a lot of us are dealing with our own issues and having to be caregivers. It ties into taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of the ones that we love better. I love everything about Sandwich Years, and I'm happy that we get to have this connection. Make sure you go to Sandwich Years on YouTube so that you can watch
our show.
Yeah,
for sure.
our show.
Well, it's actually quite fun, because she's sitting in, I always sit over there,
Yes.
and she always sits over here. So that's the fun part. We always sit there and go, when we sat down today, I was sitting there going, oh, it feels nice over here.
Yeah.
So you might see us on each other's show a little bit often.
On my show, you guys know I always sit here. Like it's dented for me. I'm here. So when I did yours, I was on that side for the first time, which is a little bit unusual. I don't know. I just feel comfortable here. But
I'm going to say this. She'll probably be back on my show, because we got to find out. I know the people that are watching are sort of sitting there going, so what is Olu doing now? Like, what did she decide? Because it is a big decision you have to make, and you really have to figure this piece out. So, I mean, thank you. If you have the opportunity, please follow us. Sandwich Years on, you can do Sandwich Years on Instagram, Facebook, also on LinkedIn. What I'm finding with a lot of people in Sandwich Years, they're either entrepreneurs or looking for their second career, because their first career isn't serving them anymore.
Yeah.
It's not that flexible to take the kids here, do this with your parents, all of that stuff. So the second career tends to happen when you're in the Sandwich Years.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things too. On YouTube as well, Sandwich Years there, and that's where you'll see our episode. And then also, if you're interested in sharing your own episode, please reach out. I'd love to hear. You can either do it if you're podcast ready, or if you're not podcast ready. Love to hear your story. We have a blog, so you can tell your story as well.
Yeah, same thing. You know, if you want to know what I decide when it comes to my mom, I'll tell you now. It's emotional, and it's going to be probably tougher on me than her. I can tell you that right now. But yeah, go to YouTube. For me, everything is easy to find. It's just my name, Olu Muley. So on YouTube, it's Olu Muley. On Instagram, Facebook, it's really easy to find me and follow me. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you hit the notification buttons so that you'll be alerted when episodes are coming up. I always love to get suggestions regarding topics of discussion. So put that in the comments below. Let me know what you want to talk about. People are always saying to me, what does let's talk mean? My license plate says let's talk.
Oh, you're lucky.
So I was at a mechanic shop last week, and the guys were talking to my friend Ruthie, and they're like, why does it say that? Let's talk. And she's like, oh, that's her platform. And he's like, what platform? What do you mean? She's like, oh, she's a life coach. Whole discussion came up just from that about what Let's Talk is. And I get often asked, well, what are we talking about? And I say, anything. Anything you want to talk about. So if you've got a topic of discussion that you want,
let's talk about it.
Let me know. Let's talk about it. Put it in the comment section. I would love to hear about it. I'd love to talk about it. If you find yourself in the Sandwich Years, let me know. Let me know how that's going, how you found yourself there, who are you taking care of, how do you need help, or if you want to share resources of things that have worked for you, let us know in the comment section, either on my YouTube channel and or Chantel's. But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you are watching this, you either will be in the Sandwich Years, are in it, or just probably finding your way out of it through different circumstances. I can't thank you enough for joining me. Make sure to follow Chantel on her platforms and follow me on all of my platforms, and make sure you come back to the next episode of Let's Talk. There always is something good to talk about.
Thank you.
Have a great day. You're very welcome. There was a time where I needed to speak to somebody outside of my family and friends. Someone who can guide me through the ups and downs and challenges I was facing. Someone to help me feel like myself again. I needed a coach. Does that resonate with you? Does that sound like you? If it does, contact me at olimuli.com and let's talk.